I've got a lot to say. I learned a darker truth.
All right, you're really killing me, Smalls. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening, Oxford. Good evening. Tonight, we're talking about baseball movies. In honor of the World Series tonight, the Red Sox and the Dodgers, they play about in 9 minutes on CBS. You can tune in. But if you don't want to tune into that, keep listening here because we're going to be talking about baseball movies. And for the first one and our main one, we'll be talking about The Sandlot. Now, I'm your host, Alec Holker. And tonight, for our special guest, we have the most honorable seniors, Chris Kiley.
What up, everyone?
And Kyle Morrisbro.
Good evening, Oxford, Ohio.
And they're quite the ball players themselves. Kyle, back in his freshman year at McNicholas High School, he batted at 420.
Yep, shout out.
And one time, Chris over me here, he made a sick diving catch in 8th grade.
Yeah, very sick. Laid out full torque, cut the ball, great out.
And he says he's got a 4th grade baseball championship.
I do indeed.
Under his belt.
Do indeed.
Now we do too. As a 3rd grader, we brought that under belt as All Saints. Shout out to the whole grade school. So, The Sandlot was an all-time classic movie. It's a cult classic now. It came out in 1993. It follows this boy who his family's moving around a lot, and his parents are going through a divorce. His mom married a new stepdad, and his stepdad's leaving a lot. But we got to find this. We follow this kid, Scotty Smalls, just through this new in San Fernandino, California. It's by Los Angeles, and he's got more brains than friends, and his effort to make friends doesn't really go too well until he gets help from the baseball prodigy, which is Benny the Jet Rodriguez, who is the legend, who is the Jet. And, at first, the Scotty doesn't really do too well with making friends. He's not athletic. He kind of reminds me of Kylie over here, but...
Yeah, you know how it is.
I mean, we all start somewhere, and that's really all it is. And Scotty, he tries really hard. He tries to play catch with his dad, and his dad kind of ends up hitting him in the eye, and it's kind of just like your old classic case of, like, getting bullied.
Yeah, has to rub a steak all over his eye for 10 minutes.
Exactly, and that's not really how you, like, kind of get this kind of mention. Like, you don't really see this. This is like your main hero too, and it's not a good start for Scotty. But luckily, he's got some hope for him, and Benny the Jet kind of comes to his rescue, and that's where this kind of comes in. This whole story follows these two friends for like the longest time, and it's a really good story about friendship. And as myself, I've always loved baseball. Baseball was one of my favorite sports that, of course, as you get older, you can't really play anymore because everybody else is better than you. But back when I was younger, I loved baseball, and Sandlot was one of the movies that made me love baseball so much.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. As you get older, playing baseball only gets tougher. Everyone just starts throwing faster and faster into the upper 90s. I know I only made it till, like you said earlier, to freshman year at McNick when I batted that 420. I also won a Golden Glove that gets thrown under the radar a little bit. But yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. I think The Sandlot definitely heightened my interest in baseball growing up as well.
Now, yeah, Kylie, you got anything?
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to say, the appeal of The Sandlot, I think, is that a lot of kids growing up, they play T-ball and they play Little League baseball. So everyone kind of wants to watch The Sandlot, and they kind of like seeing these kids play baseball and want to be Benny the Jet Rodriguez and Smalls and Squints and everyone in that movie. So that's why everyone really likes it.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, also before I play the first kind of just like a little 30-second trailer, we may have a pop-in from my good friend Logan Nelson. He's all the way out in Colorado right now. He's a couple hours behind us, but he wants to tune in because this is growing up. This was one of our favorite movies. Always playing when we would play baseball together. We always kind of reminisce about the Sandlot kids and how we always kind of wanted to be the Sandlot kids because just like the Sandlot kids and just like us, we looked up to the pros and all we wanted to do was play just like them, kind of play a little dirty, play a little fun, and and just play some good old-fashioned baseball. So here's a little trailer from The Sandlot.
You pop for apples in the toilet. You play ball like a girl.
They got the walk.
Wendy Peppercorn.
But even winners know when to run.
Then how do we get the ball back? It's history. Ooh, a big doggy.
The Sandlot.
Flies open. Strike for a hero.
Now on home video. Rated PG.
Nah, it's just as you can see, there's a lot of funny parts, and we're gonna touch on all of them because this really gets down to like just the knee deep, like gritty, like funny movie. That's why it makes it a cult classic. You got Porter, Ham, just the classic fat kid.
Also known as Brad Munn sometimes.
Ham is Brad Munns. Scotty Smalls is Colin Smalls. If any of you out there know him, little nerdy boy with his stuff tucked in.
Oh, and there he is, ladies and gentlemen. All right, 1 second. We're gonna get our call from Logan Nelson. Hey, Logan, you're on speaker.
What's up, man?
Hey, good to hear from you. Good to hear from you. All right, Logan, you got any statistics from your baseball years? I think you were pretty good.
Statistics from my baseball years. Let's see. I got cut in 5th grade by the famous Joe Holker, and I always played left field when I did play. So
You definitely made some diving
I was
catches.
there for moral support.
You made some diving catches, and you made some good hits. I remember that. You could bunt.
Oh, I know that quitting baseball led me to lacrosse, and that's what I played all through high school. So.
All right, so
was a
that's good to hear. Hey, Logan, I'm glad you called in. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about the Sandlot tonight. We got a special caller all the way from Colorado, the Air Force. So, and we were just getting started. He said he could be on here for a little bit. So, the Sandlot, this really just perfect baseball movie. So, the summer day, this was set in the time of the 60s, and this is a prime time to be alive. Right? JFK's president. Love Me Do by the Beatles came out. They just also created an oral polio vaccine to battle polio. That's a serious thing going on. The Cuban Missile Crisis is huge.
Yeah, I mean that's right after the baby boomer generation. I mean it's the time in between the wars. It's a good time to be in America.
The first Walmart opened up, and the summer started. And what better do to just play baseball every single day? And that's what the Sandlot kids are doing. And really, for Squints, he's just trying to find some friends. Not Squints, Smalls.
Smalls.
Yeah, Smalls. My mistake. I'm really excited to get to the whole Squints part. Because Squints is Logan's favorite character. Ain't that right, Logan?
Squints is the man. Just Wendy Peppercorn. We're going to get to all of it.
We're going to get to all of it. And so really it touches this movie, kind of takes a toll on you see the sad part of what happens to kids who get bullied. I mean, everybody was bullied at least once, and everybody at least does the bullying a little bit. And you just feel bad for Squints. And then he gets hit with the eye, and he's you just hear the simple eye on the ball thing that happens all the time to Squints, the stepdad, and just clocks him right in the face. And I don't know how I would feel. How would you feel if your stepdad, Chris and everybody, yeah, this question, how would you feel if your stepdad hit you with an eye?
I think I'd give up on baseball, maybe even sports in general. That's kind of it. If you can't catch a ball, that's step one in any single sport is to be able to catch the ball in your hands. So I think that would have been it for me. Smalls is a little nerdy boy, but eventually he fit in with the rest of the crew, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean I think earlier in the movie it was kind of wild just how aggressive those younger kids were toward him. It kind of gives you a feel for just how mean younger kids can be sometimes. They really kind of go after him, and at first he takes it to heart and just runs home and cries and is sad and thinks he's not going to make any friends. Eventually he kind of grows some thicker skin like he has to and kind of brushes it off and jokes back at him. But yeah, I think you can't even really blame him for being so bad at baseball because his stepdad was just such a bad dad. He would always ask him to play catch with him, and he would always say yeah, but never do it at that time.
But not right now, yeah.
But not right now. So
it's I got work, but maybe after work.
So basically it was a no.
Yeah, so it really meant no, and
I feel like they didn't even show the full force of what the bullying was like back then either. Yeah, they were calling him names and stuff, but kids used to get straight beat up.
And that was like that's kind of what happened in the '60s. It was like okay, like, and then Smalls' mom, she tells him like stop being a loser.
I mean, he doesn't help himself out. Like, what are those fits that he's wearing all movie long? That is horrible. I think Kyle was over there dressing him.
That's funny. While I was watching it today, I made a comment that you would be wearing all of those clothes.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's fair.
But and it's kind of one of the sleeper points on is Smalls' mom, who also plays Marion from the Indiana Jones series, which is a great movie. Karen Allen, great actor. She plays Smalls' mom, and after she keeps seeing Smalls just kind of spend the rest of his summer days inside, she's kind of had enough of it, and she says, you know what, Scotty, you got to get out of the house, all right? I like really just giving him the green light to get in trouble. And, honestly, my mom did not give me the green light to go on in trouble. She was actually putting the red light on.
She was anti. She definitely gave you a hard stop sign.
Yeah.
Probably didn't even look down the house. So I was like,
Probably there were multiple stop signs.
I would say my mom was more of the Smalls mom from our childhood. She kind of definitely gave us the green light.
Shout out to Pamela. Shout out Pamela. Great. I wonder if she's probably listening. She might be tuning in.
It probably is. That's the link.
That's great. And so when Benny starts realizing that they are only going to have 8 the rest of the summer, Benny's like, you know what? We got to at least try to get 9 because we can't be a real ball team if we don't have 9. And he reaches out to Smalls, and of course Smalls is like, oh, my glove's broken. I got a black eye. But you know what? Benny's like, you know what? I got an extra glove. Like, just come with us. We need 9 to be a real ball team. And that's what makes Benny better than the rest. He's not thinking about himself. He's not thinking about how weird Scotty is. He's thinking about the team, and he wants to play on a team, whether they have jerseys or whether they just have baseball T-shirts. That's what makes Benny the Jet Rodriguez the great name.
Yeah, very nice guy, very inclusive. He's trying to bring everyone together. I mean, any problem that Smalls has, Benny's right there to fix it right away. I think he's kind of, I would say maybe the most ideal character in that movie, just because he's always looking out for everyone else ahead of himself, which is pretty awesome. He shows that even the most at the end when he runs into the fence with the beast in it and sacrifices his own life really to get that ball back.
Yeah, Benny also had league dreams. He was league bound no matter what. I don't know, not a gym rat, a field rat, but he was always out there playing.
Yeah, and you can you see a glimpse of Benny just whipping out. He gets out of a pickle in like the first 5 minutes of the movie, and you're like, all right, this guy's got some skill. And of course, he's rocking the Converse. Anybody got Converse on right now? Logan, you got your Converse on?
And all the PF Flyers.
Of course, yeah.
He lays up those PF Flyers. Yeah, he does.
Rolls up those jeans like it's 2018. Man was looking fly.
So,
I don't
and
know if this guy's played baseball in jeans, summer heat, all day.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with that. I don't get that at all. He told Smalls that Smalls was wearing shorts that one day, and he said, "Yeah, you got a T-shirt and some jeans. Wear them tomorrow." I would much be rather wearing those shorts that Smalls is wearing than some jeans.
yeah, your summer in California is not
It's not cool.
not especially when you're on a baseball diamond. And so really shortly after, we get to meet the team. We meet the Sandlot Misfits. All right, so we got Benny the Jet Rodriguez, the leader of the crew. We got Hamilton Ham Porter, also known as Brad Munns. Michael Squints Palladores, who's also known as Chris Kiley, who's here tonight. We got Alan McClannon. Kenny DeNunez, he's the pitcher. Timmy and Tommy Timmons, who they always repeat after each other. Yeah, Beatram Grover Weeks, the really tall kid that also looks like Kylie. And that's the team. They also all spit after their name is announced, which is just kind of hilarious. And you're like, what? Who are
It's
these?
gritty, man. It's gritty.
Yeah, it makes them look like a real team and everything, and they're just hanging out in the grocery parking lot. It's kind of weird, but
Kind of makes him look like Rajon Rondo out there.
yeah. So they kind of give also the whole kind of crap look that they're awesome, and they are. They got these kids just they're holding bats, they're sitting on milk cartons, and they're just chilling behind the grocery store. And then all of a sudden they start talking about the Great Bambino, and of course Smalls has no idea who that is because he has the same amount of like sports knowledge that like I do. So very
Yeah.
Probably less.
probably less. I know who the Babe Ruth is. So also while we're kind of taking a little pause, shout out to the Nelsons. They are listening. Logan, say hello. Bruce, he shot me a text. Yeah.
What's up?
Your parents are listening. Bruce and Pam, they're tuning in.
Yeah, they probably are.
Yeah, they're tuning in. So after we see Smalls and he kind of can't really play too well, and after Benny he says put the glove up in your air and I'll do the rest. You kind of see Benny just take the leadership at really what he does, and they end up seeing that Smalls actually can kind of catch, he can kind of throw, and of course Smalls does try to go hop over the fence to get a ball. He's like, oh, I got it, because Ham hits a home run, and then they like all grab Smalls back, like, no, you can't go over, because the beast is over there. The beast that you really don't know. Like the whole fence just starts shaking, and you're like, what's behind the fence? But this leads into one of my favorite scenes when they have this whole kind of sleepover in the treehouse. Now I had a treehouse growing up. I don't know. Did you guys have treehouses growing up?
I did not.
You did not?
I did not, but my neighbor did. Is actually Brandon Story. Most of you guys know Brandon Story.
Yeah. And so
Used to go over there all the time.
So the treehouse was kind of like treehouses were just awesome in general, and of course their treehouse is decked out with baseball player cards on the walls. There's bats. There's a couple women all over the walls, and you're like, that's the coolest treehouse ever, and I want that. And I had a little treehouse. It wasn't that big. It was called Fort Cooper. It's pretty sweet. It's still up after many repairs, and so it's definitely treehouses are definitely just a real cool place to be, and especially you hear how to make the best smalo.
On the ground. Then you roast the mallow.
No, it's my sleeping bag. That's mine.
When the mallow's flaming,
It is yours. It's like a yellow stain.
you stick it on the chocolate.
I'm gonna set the place
Then-
on fire, Ham.
You cover it with the other end.
Here, make me one of those. Yeah, me too.
Then you stuff.
Now, s'mores are just the stereotypical. They're the best. They're super simple, but that's what makes camping out anywhere just the best. And that's why the scene's it's just like, oh, that's something simple, but Smalls, of course, doesn't know anything simple. And you got the Ham, you got the fat kid, of course. You got to teach him how to roast the mallows.
Smalls had a brutal childhood, man. I mean, who doesn't know what a s'more is? Everyone knows what a s'more is. Also, I'll say when we were at our house the other day having a bonfire, and we were talking about this scene before that this whole podcast even came up, which is kind of ironic, but in the background there where they said, Ham, you're about to burn the whole place down, I really did think of Munz there. I could see him burning all of White House down with a s'more. So further proof that Munz is Ham.
Of course. Hey, shout out Newman, another listener from South Carolina. He knows what Fort Cooper is. Everybody knows what Fort Cooper is. Fort Cooper is a well-known treehouse in the suburbs of Cincinnati. So, yeah.
Cincinnati area.
It's well known for it. And this, you kind of find out the history behind the wall, the fence that sits behind the Sandlot, and it's home to the Beast. This ginormous dog reminds you of Cujo. It's like super scary. It's eating a kid. It's eating burglars. Mr. Myrtle.
I like how they bring it back to like the black and white footage and like really old footage and just made it look like it was so long ago. But I think they did it pretty well. It looked pretty scary. I remember watching it as a kid. I was like, oh man.
Well, they also
to me, the Beast looked like it was like 25 feet long. Like they really played it up.
I remember that, like the first kind of little full glimpse of the Beast, and it's definitely over exaggerated to this ginormous dog that is the size.
It was like
Yeah, it looked like a giant dinosaur. It was like a horse. It was like the size of a horse. And of course, yeah, you get the black and white screen, and like you get the mustache saying "forever," and it fades out, and you're just like, oh, jeez.
4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times, really excessive. But it gets you in the feels that there's something behind those walls that Scotty does not want to mess with, and he doesn't. He really doesn't. And this is what, like, the beast is kind of, this is like one of those things that's kind of back behind that fence that stays there for a while. It ended up eating a kid, and kind of hear about this old man, Mr. Myrtle, who always kind of reminds you of that one scary guy in your neighborhood who didn't really mess around. Like, if you kind of ran in front of his yard or something like that, like, he would yell at you. He would tell you, get out of my yard. So that's what, like, kind of this mental picture of Mr. Myrtle gave you. So,
Yeah, they did a great job, kind of, like you said, depicting this whole thing like it is, because it can appeal to everybody, every little kid. That scary dude in your neighborhood with that scary dog, you don't want to jump over that fence to get the ball.
and that's what makes it kind of, like, there's always that fence that you always kind of just want to hop over. Like, everybody wants to hop over the fence and see what's on the other side. But this is the fence. It's some sheet of metal, and, like, bangs when the dog gets near and all this stuff, and you're just like, don't go over there. Some kid got eaten by it. It's the last thing you want to do. So, of course, the gang moves on. They play a lot more baseball. They hang out to get together. One of, like, my favorite scenes is when they play on the 4th of July. It's, like, super, like, 4th of July, like, stereotypical. Like, this is what made the 60s awesome. All right.
Good song.
Yeah, great song.
The whole soundtrack really is kind of knocks it out of the park. No pun intended.
Yeah. And so you got to stay, like, this is what the 60s were like. If we had anybody on here who's from the 60s, they would say this was a pretty good example. That everybody in the neighborhood is in the cul-de-sac with picnic tables. There's a grill going on. It's really kind of just everybody's coming together because, of course, the Cuban Missile Crisis was going on. Everybody thought World War III was going to happen, so every 4th of July that came was a miracle. And, of course, these kids, they want to play under the lights because this is going to be this is their one chance to play under the lights as, like, just like the big leagues. And they got a great song going. I don't even know what the song is, but it's like America the Beautiful. Oh, it's America the Beautiful. Yeah. And, of course, Benny hits the home run, and everybody's not even looking at the ball anymore. They're just, like, looking at the fireworks, and you're just like, man, like, I got to go play me some baseball or something like that. And, of course, then the best part, the battle of insults ensues when the rich kids who have uniforms and all the snotty kids turn around the corner, and that song that I played, it's called Green Onions. And of course, that song is just, like, kind of catchy, and you're like, all right, like, something's happening, and these guys roll up on their bicycles just like another gang, and the battle of insults begins immediately. So I got the list of insults right here in front of me. So it goes crap face, jerk, idiot, moron, scab eater, butt sniffer, pus licker, fart smeller, you eat dog crap for breakfast, you mix your Wheaties with your mama's toe jam, you bob for apples in the toilet and you like it. Then the famous you play ball like a girl comes on and everybody goes silent. And then before they all separate, they say, be there, buffalo butt breath, and count on it, pee drinking crap face. So let's go around the table. What is your favorite insult? Kyle?
I think that you play ball like a girl is a little bit overhyped. What was the one with the buffalo again? That was one of the top.
So right as they're kind of separating, they're saying, like, tomorrow, like, noon, like, our field, be there. He says be there, buffalo butt breath.
Buffalo butt breath is okay. I also liked the pee drinking crap face. Was it
crap face? Yeah.
Pee drinking crap face is pretty good. I think this is quite the exchange for a PG movie, personally.
Chris?
I was a big fan of Fart Sniffer, you know. I like the classic Fart Sniffer. One thing I do want to point out, imagine if a movie came out today and someone said you play ball like a girl. That would be those would be some headlines.
Some Me Too movements would be on the march.
That's right.
2018.
That's right.
Logan, what about you? What's your favorite insult?
I kind of like the fart sniffer one because you get Kenny right after it. Just zoom in on Kenny's face, and he just goes.
Yeah, he does. He does the little smell. He's like, ah.
Yeah,
and you're like, what the hell? And it makes kind of that whole. It does make that joke really good. So mine is you mix your Wheaties with your mama's toe jam. Now I'm assuming at that time Wheaties were huge, and Wheaties are still pretty good. I would say Wheaties are up there for one of my favorite cereals. But this is just kind of started, like, of course, when you're seeing it as a young kid, you're like, man, I want to shit talk that other team, like, so bad. Like when the Hams playing catcher. He's like, oh, like, hey, don't you have a sister? He's like, yeah. He's like, what if I took her out, like, on a date and something like that? Just completely mess with her. I remember all the times I tried to get my dad to put me on catcher so I could say some stuff like, is that your sister naked in the outfield?
All-time classic exchange right there.
All-time classic. And he's like, oh,
I like
that's...
when he was just messing with him. He was like, yeah, if I had a dog, I'd shave his butt. Something to walk backwards.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of the catcher kind of getting in the batter's heads at the plate. I think that's kind of a staple of a lot of different baseball movies.
Yeah, it is.
There was some of that in Major League, too.
There was.
Yeah, Major League. We'll be touching on that later.
It's that a little bit.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, he's just like, is that your sister naked in the outfield? He's like, shut up, Porter. He's like, oh, hey, man, I'm just trying to have a conversation. And he's like, he also, of course, he's a fat kid, so he's like, hey, all right, batter, come on, get it. I got to get home for lunch.
Catcher has to be the fat kid in every baseball team. It's just a fact.
It's just a fact. They're able to block the ball. But, see, now you say the fat kid, but, of course, he's got to be able to get up, get the ball, and throw it to second. Now, not every fat kid can do that.
That is true. You got to have some athleticism too. You can't just be maybe thick is a better way to put it.
Yeah, there you go. How many C's?
3.
3? Okay. Now, so of course they win. They win the game against these snotty kids who have jerseys and all that stuff, and then they go to the Ferris wheel, which is just the classic. Like they get the chow, and they practically just shove it right in your face. Oh yeah, chow. This is what the big leagues do. And of course, Smalls has no idea what it is. Smalls is unbeknownst. He hasn't seen a lick of alcohol or a lick of tobacco. Nobody uses tobacco in his household, so it's a good household, I would say. And Bertram just brings this bag of Indian chow out of his pocket. He's like, oh, we almost forgot. And then they just start throwing in pouches of tobacco. And then they hop on this ride. And the best song ever, Tequila, comes on.
Tequila.
Yeah, and these kids start puking off it. And I'd never tried this. I have puked from roller coasters before, but never tobacco. They're always from, like, too much candy or something like that.
All-time stupid move, throwing in some chaw at like 8 years old. Not 8, 10 years, whatever they are. And then going on a roller coaster. That's just asking to throw up. Gotta say, the first time I ever threw in a pouch, I threw up like 15 times, but we don't talk about that.
Kyle, have you ever thrown in a pouch some tobacco?
I have. I mean, I've been known to dabble here and there. I wouldn't say I'd be too inclined to do that before I went on a spinning roller coaster or any sort of ride of that nature. So yeah, maybe not the best move on their part, but also the fact that they're maybe, like Squeeb said, 10 or 12. They probably didn't really know any better. They probably didn't really know what was going to happen.
They were just like trying to be like the big leagues.
They were trying to. They see the ball players doing it back then. I guess in the 60s when they were growing up, you probably had those ball players doing that just visibly. And I know now they have that rule in the MLB where you kind of get fined if you get caught doing it, which everyone still kind of does it. But, I mean, you get caught, you do it too blatantly, you're going to get fined. So it's just a little bit more hidden now than it was back in those days.
Now, so that was a great scene. They're puking all over the people behind them and
all over themselves.
All over themselves. They get off the ride. They're just covered, and you're just like, yeah. That's what they kind of get. But so of course it's summer in California, so every day is over 90 degrees. Now one day it gets, of course, over 100, and of course Benny's like, let's play baseball. Everybody else is dying. And they're drinking soda. Of course, it's not going to keep them hydrated. And they're just dying, like, oh, let's go to the pool, like, pool honeys. Great scene. And they go to the pool, of course. They just don't really care where they throw their towels or clothes or anything. And they just run straight in the pool, make all the noise as much as possible. Of course, there's all the pool honeys just tanning out, and you got Ham. I remember that's what Chris would always do at the pool. Just walk by, hey.
Absolutely. That's an underrated part of the scene when he jumps in and gets them all wet. And when he walks by and schemes on them. Very underrated.
Hi. Wave. Oh, hey.
That is a scene that I would agree it falls under the radar. That when you think about the movie and you try to name some of the iconic scenes and some of the main quotes, that's not really one that comes to mind, which kind of made it funnier when I was watching it earlier, just because you don't really have that in the back of your mind. So it's a little fresher seeing it second, third, fourth, fifth time.
Now, but of course, Ham pulls a great scene, but it all comes down to Michael Squints Paldoris.
Absolutely.
He's got these creepy glasses. He gets out of the pool. Of course, when you see Wendy with her, she's applying her sunscreen, her daily routine, and she's got the whole Sandlot team. Jaws are dropped. Everybody's like, oh, she's oily. She knows exactly what she's doing. And Wendy Peppercorn, beautiful girl, and Squints has had enough of it for years. He's been going to the same pool for years, and he's done with it. He tries, and you really have no idea what's going through Squints' mind. If you seeing this the first time, you're like, what's this kid doing? Like, he's just being weird. He's like chuckling. He's like, he hops on the diving board, and you realize Squints can't swim, which is
Important in the deep end.
which is important in the deep end. Yeah, this is the diving. He's going on the diving board. Diving board's in the deep end. He can't swim. Now his team knows this. Nobody else really knows this, and he jumps in. Rest of the team freaks out, and when he kind of realizes, like, oh crap, like this kid's drowning, and she comes to rescue you. She gives him mouth to mouth, and while Squints is being saved, you kind of see like his eyes like open up. You see him give like a weird smile, and he's like, it's like a Quagmire smile, and you realize
Schemey smile.
Yeah, it's a scheme.
Called a scheme smile.
Yeah, the schemey smile, and you realize that Squints was faking the entire time. Like he planned this kind of scheme. He was planning this for years. He admits it when they're kind of running away, and
He does.
he ends up kind of getting some tongue from Wendy Peppercorn, the lifeguard, and she gets pissed. She smacks him across the face, and she's like, "What? Like, how could this kid do this? Like, I fell into the trap," and it's hilarious. They got the magic moment playing, and it's like this magic moment, and you're like, "Wow!" Like this kid pulled the moves on the lifeguard, and that was like kind of one of the main memories. Logan, you always loved this memory. You love Squints. You tried to do this.
It's what's always funny. I think Squint kind of looks like my brother, and I can totally see him doing.
I could totally see this.
But yeah, I always thought this scene was funny, especially when he gets slapped across the face. Everybody has to run out of the pool. They're all just completely like they're getting hecked from the entire pool, but they get kicked out. And then he looks back, and Wendy just gives him a nice smile and wave. And then, I mean, the rest of the story goes on with there, but I always like that scene.
Yeah, Squints and Wendy end up getting married. You kind of find out at the end, and they have like 8 kids or something like that, and you're just kind of laughing.
Something funny about that, if you go to Squints' real life Instagram page, his most recent picture is actually with Wendy Peppercorn in real life, and she's still looking pretty good. I will say.
Still got it.
She still got it.
Yeah, and he's wearing a very NSFW shirt in the picture, so might as well go check it out.
He's a bit of a hipster now. It is an interesting
Full
look.
sleeves too.
Yeah, it's an interesting look up.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for Logan tuning in. We're gonna take a quick break from our sponsors. They're tuning in tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow at 8 p.m. to the Jake and Matt show with Max and Jason, where they talk about sports. And of course, the World Series is on tonight, so they'll be talking about that. And they'll talk about the Buckeyes losing. Go Boilermakers, right?
Oh yeah, baby. Go Purdue, baby. Go Purdue.
Nah, there's no Buckeye fans.
Any IOs out there?
Logan, hey, thanks for tuning in, man. It was great to hear from you.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Hey, anytime. All right, so here's a wild thing, of course, for our Major League fans.
Wild thing, I think I love you. But I wanna know for sure. So come on and hold me tight. I love you. you move me. But I wanna know for sure. So come on and hold me tight. You move me. Wild thing, you make my heart sing. You make everything groovy. Wild thing, come on, wild thing. Shake it, wild thing.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning in to We're Gonna Need a Bigger Blog. I'm your host, Alec Holker, and we'll be tuning in every Tuesdays at 8 p.m., and we'll be talking about movies, and guess what? Even more movies. Tonight, we have a special baseball segment. We're talking about the Sandlot, and thanks to Logan Nelson for tuning in. He's all the way out in Colorado. He's at the Air Force Academy. One of my good buddies, also my fellow Eagle Scout. We got it together. So I just want to say shout out to you for calling in. It was awesome to hear from you. And we got our other special guests here in the studio, Kyle Morrisroe
Howdy.
and Chris, also known as Squints Kiley.
Howdy.
So we're doing baseball tonight because this is the first game of the World Series tonight. Kyle, you got an update for us?
Yeah, I got an update. It looks like the Red Sox are off to a hot start. Playoff Clayton Kershaw is playing like playoff Clayton Kershaw. Gave up a leadoff single to Mookie Betts, stole second, then a single to Benny Baseball. Shout out Cincinnati, hometown boy.
Shout out Madeira.
Then we got another Martinez single to center. Benintendi just scored. We got 2-0 Red Sox.
2-0 Red Sox. Good for you, good for you, Callahan. If he's listening out there, Callahan was one of our first guests when we talked about the Nun. He's from Boston, so I guess we'll give it to you. Who do you guys want to win?
Not as much of a bandwagon fan as Michael Sinella, if you're out there listening. Another Boston fan, but actually from Cincinnati. So I'm going to have to give the ad to Turtle on this one.
Who do you guys want to win?
Honestly, this might be one of the least appealing World Series since we've been born. If
Hold up, let me interrupt him real quick. He's also wearing a Boston Red Sox hat as we speak.
Because I like that. But if Kim Jong-un wanted to nuke both Dodger Stadium and Fenway, I wouldn't be mad. However, I want to root for one team, so I'm going to pick the Red Sox because they got Benintendi, Cincinnati boy.
Hey.
But yeah, I'm a big baseball fan, but I really don't care that much who wins this. Two big market teams, not even fair.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
I feel bad for the Brewers. Like I wanted them to win, and then they just got smacked.
Yeah, I was on the Brewers bandwagon hard.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like now you've moved your way to the Boston bandwagon.
Yeah, whatever. Just a little bit.
So, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in. We're talking about The Sandlot, the cult classic from 1993. And we just left off with, of course, Squints just pulling the moves on the lifeguard, Wendy Peppercorn. And now we're getting down to the kind of the final third part of the movie where we get another sign from the baseball gods. And when we talk about the other baseball movies, you can kind of sense that these baseball gods are kind of around. So first, kind of in The Sandlot, Benny knocks the guts out of a ball, like clear out of it, like knocks it out of the skin.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible hit.
Very good, good contact.
Test that man for roids.
I can't say I've ever done that to a baseball.
I don't think
honest.
it's super rare. Not like
Haven't even come close.
now. So that's like a sign from the baseball gods, and from our other movies, from Field of Dreams, that's like he gets a sign from the baseball gods about kind of building. If you build it, they will come, and they send Kevin Costner on this whole path of making a baseball field in his backyard. Angels in the outfield. Another kind of baseball gods, and then kind of the rookie. I kind of put that under there because he's like this 40-year-old man who's got the arm of a MLB player, and it was kind of all like kind of part of an accident. So it sounds like these baseball gods had something in common. Was I missing any other baseball god signs? Maybe Moneyball. I mean, the Oakland A's kind of stepping out of getting out of their slump and going on. How many win streaks did they go on? Like
20 something. I think the Indians just beat it the other year.
Yeah,
though.
they did. I think it was the year they got to the series. It was 2 years ago, right?
I think it was. Well, I don't know. I thought it was last year, but I could be wrong.
it was something pretty incredible.
I could be wrong. Could have been last year. Anyways, yeah, the Indians beat that, I think, with either 26 or 27 wins.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Benny
quite the streak.
So Benny knocks the guts out of the ball, and now they can't play no more. Because back in the day, no kids got 99 cents to pay for baseball. Kind of sad.
Yeah, quite the times have changed. I mean, when I was growing up playing baseball, a coach would show up with a bucket of 40 or 50 baseballs. You just don't have that luxury back then.
Well, you can't forget, Kyle, they don't have a coach.
They don't have a coach, that's true. But those baseballs back then were 98 cents. Now you think about it, if you're a kid, you got 98 cents. It's crazy to think about the way money's changed over the years.
I bet
too.
you can't even go into some place and buy one ball. Like, it's probably super rare.
It's probably a bulk package for most of them. Those buckets that I was just talking about that my coach would bring.
Buckets.
Buckets. I get buckets.
So now they can't play no more, and Smalls gets the brilliant idea to steal his stepfather's ball that also happens to be signed by the Babe Ruth, the great Bambino, the
Colossus of Cloud,
Sultan of SWAT, the King of Crash.
Yeah.
And he, of course, Smalls doesn't know. Smalls has no idea how much money this baseball's worth. And of course, they say, hey, your ball, like your bat, he gets second pitch. He knocks it straight over the fence. And he realizes, like, shoot, like I'm a dead man. And this is where the biggest pickle of the summer comes into. It's not even the Wendy Peppercorn, not even when they play the guys in the jerseys, or even taking chow on putting in some chow on the roller coaster. This is the biggest pickle when they got to get the ball back to save Squints' life from his stepfather's hands, which most stepfathers do. I mean, I know my father, if I stole his baseball that was signed by Babe Ruth, I'd get a roller to the butt.
Yeah, I just looked it up. A Babe Ruth baseball went for almost $400,000 in 2012. So not a smart move financially to take that ball out.
I mean, the dinger might be worth it. That's actually, I hate to be that guy, but it brings me to one of the biggest plot holes in the movie, in my opinion, was you start out and Smalls doesn't know how to catch a baseball. He doesn't know how to do anything. He can't even throw the ball. He runs it in from left field into second base. Then all of a sudden, maybe 2 weeks down the line, they show him he gets a hit in the game. I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. He got a hit, but they never even showed him learning how to swing a bat, which is not even arguably, definitely probably the hardest part of playing baseball is actually getting hits. And then all of a sudden, you fast forward 2 weeks after that, and he's hitting dingers out of the park on a Babe Ruth signed baseball. I just don't understand how he starts the season and starts the summer, not even knowing how to play baseball, and then all of a sudden he's hitting his dad's prize $400,000 Babe Ruth baseball out of the park to the beast.
Have you ever heard the saying, it's what you do behind the scenes, Kyle? Yeah, for sure. Benny the Jet was for sure giving him some soft toss in some cage. He was hitting off a tee, definitely some live BP. He was getting the swing. He was grooving the swing, and he hit that dinger because of it.
Yeah, that's definitely a Benny the Jet move. I'll have to agree with you on that one. I'll let that one slide just because I know how much he cares about the team and how much he would go out of his way for others. So
They definitely were practicing while the other team was while the rest of the team was sleeping.
No doubt.
They
No
had
doubt.
to.
those two were on their own.
Yeah, they were like, oh, I'll team up with the nerd, and he's gonna do my taxes later. So they get in the biggest pickle. They try multiple times to get the ball back from the beast, and it doesn't work. Nothing works. Not even science. Not even just a simple kind of pulley system that doesn't work. So of course the baseball gods come in and kind of creepily visit Benny the Jet from his closet as Babe Ruth just walks out of it.
Yeah.
But we get the greatest, one of the greatest quotes from Sandlot. Anybody who wants to say it? Who wants to say it?
I don't know.
He can't even say it.
I couldn't do it.
He can't even do it.
I couldn't do it. I feel like I know it. It's on the tip of my tongue.
He's
but I couldn't
trembling.
do it.
So Babe Ruth, it goes to Babe Ruth, tells Benny the Jet, heroes get remembered, but legends never die.
Yeah.
But legends never die. And he convinces Benny to suck up all his honor and hop over the fence and pickle the beast. Now, when he says pickle, he means literally snag the ball up and try to run back as fast as you can. Now, of course, Benny Jet Rodriguez, he's got some Mexican in his legs, and he's ready. I think that's what Babe Ruth knew when he was telling Benny to like hop over. He's like, you got some good feet. You can hop a fence. So
I've seen you run the bases a few times.
I've seen you run, and you know it works out for Benny. He pulls it off. They run through the entire town and just cause a lot of havoc. The dog like breaks a movie screen.
Breaks the movie screen. Yeah, I was gonna bring.
They
that
ruin
up.
a cake, and the whole team's just chasing after them because you're like, Benny's gonna get eaten. Benny he gets a piece of his butt bitten off, and you're just like, this is it. But he ends up beating the beast in a pickle. A beautiful scene. The dog kind of gets injured a little bit, and Smalls, of course, helps it, as always. And then you meet Mr. Myrtle, who's this James Earl Jones, great guy. He actually ended up playing with Babe Ruth back in the day, and then he got blind, but he has all these baseballs in his house. He's a huge baseball fan. Played for the Pirates back when Babe Ruth played for the Yankees. And it's kind of this touchy feeling where you have this dog, this scary dog, but then you have this nice, sweet old man. And James Earl Jones does a great job. And they end up making a great charade. And really, this was my favorite baseball movie. But there's plenty more out there. There's Moneyball. Moneyball was the most recent that was in my top 5. I had Sandlot as 1, Field of Dreams as 2, which is just also touched by James Earl Jones and the baseball gods. If you build it, they will come. Moneyball, most recent one, which is just a fantastic movie with Brad Pitt and Jonah Hill, talking about the Oakland A's. When was that? When were the
Early 2000s, I believe. Maybe late 90s, but I think it was early 2000s.
Yeah. And then my number 4 is The Rookie, Mel Gibson. He's like 40. He's got like a 50-year-old man. He's got a mortgage and 2 kids. But he's still got like the arm of a MLB player. He ends up going to the big leagues while he's like coaching high school baseball. And then my number 5 was 42, that new movie with Jackie Robinson. Great movie. I was a huge fan of Jackie Robinson growing up.
That was a good one for sure.
All right, now what are your guys' baseball movies?
I'd go Moneyball 1, Sandlot 2, The Rookie 3. If you remember the movie Rookie of the Year where the kid breaks his arm and then all of a sudden he can throw like 100 miles an hour.
That's a great movie.
I'll go that 4. And I'm going to leave 5 blank. I have a hot take. Not a fan of Field of Dreams. Think it's a little too cheesy for my liking.
What's wrong with you?
I know it's an all-time classic and whatnot, but
his house is getting like taken by the bank.
Yeah, see, it's just a little too cheesy, feely-goody for me. I'm just not really the biggest fan of that movie. I also watched it either in grade school or high school, and it was in class, so that probably kind of screwed up my whole memory there. But, yeah, those are my top 4, and I can't think of a 5th.
Kyle?
I don't know if I'll be able to rank mine in a particular order right now. I probably have a top 3, and then I put 2 a little bit behind that. I think my top 3 I'd throw in there. Major League's definitely up there. I'm a big Ohio sports fan, especially the Indians, Roll Tribe. So Major League, definitely one of my top 3. I'll put The Sandlot in there as well. And then another movie, just to kind of switch up the pace a little bit to kind of a different style of genre of baseball movies that I didn't mind was The Benchwarmers.
Yeah.
That was a decently fun movie.
That's an awesome movie.
And then I'll put 42 and Moneyball to round off the 5, just because those are movies I'm not as familiar with, but I definitely enjoyed those 2 baseball movies as well.
And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to I made a mistake. The Rookie is not Mel Gibson; it's Dennis Quaid, so even better. So yeah, Sandlot was a fantastic coming of age movie of the early 90s. It was his 25th anniversary this year. NBC Today, they did a great segment on it, about 5 minutes. They brought back everybody. Only person who couldn't make it was Benny the Jet, which was a pretty sad scene, but the rest of the team made it. Because after the Brewers kind of did a little repeat of the Sandlot scene when Ham hits it over the field. And he's like, all right. He points out to the left field. He's like, give me your best pitch and all that other stuff. And so the Brewers redid that and kind of brought it back to life. it was a great segment on NBC today. It's on YouTube. You guys should check it out. Highly recommend it. So I gave The Sandlot an 8 out of 10 on IMDb. It's on IMDb they give it a 7.8, of course. But
Let's round up over here.
yeah, let's round up. We'll give it an 8. Kylie, what do you give it?
I'll go like 8 too. You know, it's the movie that I think of my childhood and I think of movie and I think of The Sandlot. So it's an iconic movie, great movie.
That's why I'm wearing a baseball shirt right now. One of those,
sure.
Yeah, one of those baseball shirts.
Go Red Leg.
Yeah,
baby.
he's wearing a Go Red shirt. I got one of the classic baseball shirts with the colored sleeves, kind of the short sleeves, and it's a great shirt. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in tonight for The Sandlot. Go Red Sox tonight.
Go Sox.
Go Sox. Yep. But thanks for tuning in for We're Gonna Need a Bigger Blog. You can find this all on holkerthoughts.weebly.com. Also on SoundCloud, Alec Holker. Just type it in, HOELKER. Here's the Drifters with Magic Moment. This one's for you, Squints.
This magic moment, so different and so new, was like any other until I kissed you, and then it happened. It took me by surprise. I knew that you felt it too, by the look in your eye, sweeter than wine, softer than the summer night. Everything I want, I have. Whenever I hold you tight, this magic moment, while your lips